Okay, so everyone's talking about E3. It's right around the corner. And I started looking at everything Xbox could show at E3 2021. And just the stuff we know about, there is a ton. Let's get into it. So the first and the most obvious is they could show Halo Infinite. That seems like a no-brainer. That is slated for release, and there's no way that is moving to any other year at this point. I think they show Halo Infinite. They show a lot of it, and the reason I'm getting into the video so quick is because I have so many notes. Yeah, so Halo Infinite, it's definitely going to be there. I actually think they focus on multiplayer a little bit more. They're definitely going to show campaign things. Maybe they even talk about how they've improved the game from the last time that we've seen it because of all the Craig memes and everything. I think they're going to handle the presentation a lot differently, and I'm really, really excited to see that. Next up, we saw some teases from the studio working on this today. Project Mara from Ninja Theory. There's an audio teaser that I'll just play right now. That they have shown, so we know Project Mara is in the works. We don't really know much about it, but that is being developed alongside Hellblade 2. Hellblade 2 is another property that Xbox could show during E3 2021. Of course, we've seen a lot of Jurgen showing her work behind the scenes, running around, doing training, doing the facial animation, and that is a game a lot of people are really, really excited about because it is using the new Unreal Engine. Moving on from there, of course, they're going to have to talk about Starfield at this point. Starfield, everybody's been a buzz about when it's going to come out. Is it going to be this year? Schreier's saying it's going to be next year. Grubb was saying it's going to be Q1 2021. There's a bunch of screen leaks, apparently, that people are claiming are real. But when it comes to the end of the day, we only know that it's going to be a single-player RPG, and we don't know a darn thing about Starfield that's officially been confirmed beyond a few small quotes from Mr. Todd, who has been teasing the game nonstop. I think we will definitely see Starfield at E3, and I'm starting with the most likely to least likely, or at least doing my best to keep that cadence up. Okay, next up, we got Forza. We're definitely going to see more about Forza, and I say that, of course, these videos are all my opinion, but I say that based on the fact that they've been doing those behind-the-scenes sort of tests where they have people testing it out to make sure that their code is doing quite well. And I definitely think we see more about Forza. It has been too long. It's time to show off that game. It looked stunning when they were teasing it before launch. It's time for us to see a little bit more gameplay and what that really brings to the table. Okay, this one actually, okay, so now we're getting into territory where we might see it, we might not. I'm going to say we see something from Perfect Dark at this point. They did the teaser already. I think they do another very short teaser for Perfect Dark. I don't know how much we're going to see, but Perfect Dark is definitely another Xbox game that we could see at E3. This one seems pretty far off, but Obsidian's Avowed, we saw the teaser basically, and that's all we've seen about Avowed. We could hear a little bit more or see something there. One I definitely think that we do see because it's so close to release is Scorn. Scorn is that sort of Scorn is that Geiger-esque sort of slow-paced horror shooter game. And it looks really, really creepy, and I can't wait to play it. On the opposite end of the spectrum, we know Tunic is this year, I believe. The developer confirmed that. Off the top of my head, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure that Tunic is this year, and he showed off a level recently at an event, and you can actually play through it for yourself. That was basically the E3 demo. I hope it's a lot further along than that. I would love, love, love to get Tunic and be playing that on my Xbox any day now. Another game that I told you this was going to be a long video. Another game that they could show is Stalker 2. We've heard a lot about Stalker 2. We saw the video where they just showed off teeth or whatever they were doing there. But Stalker 2 is in their slate of releases. I already mentioned Hellblade 2, so I'll skip over that and go to Fable. We saw the Fable teaser. We could hear more about Fable. They could just do a developer style thing and talk about their improvements there. We could hear about Crossfire X. Crossfire X is pretty far along, actually, and could actually be shown. We have seen teases of multiplayer. We know what the campaign is going to look like. That one actually is pretty exciting for me because I think I think it's going to be a lot cooler than people are giving credit for. I think Crossfire X just sort of came out and people thought it was a sequel. The problem was with the launch trailer, you didn't really know what that game was. And they've since shown gameplay, but honestly, I don't think they're doing a good job marketing it because I think it looks awesome. I would love to see more about Crossfire X. Similarly, for State of Decay 3, they decided to just show a CG trailer, and they got a lot of crap for that, for lack of a better term. Show us some State of Decay 3 gameplay, at least something. What are you doing with that game? How are you evolving that franchise? I would love to see more. Bright Memory, we still don't know what the next part of that is going to be. And like that gameplay is really, really good. You can play the Steam version right now if you want to get an idea of what to experience there. And Bright Memory is going to be really, really cool. There's also The Gunk. The Gunk is right around the corner, and it sort of deals with liquid suction and cleaning it up. And I think that game is going to be a really, really charming game that a lot of people are sleeping on. Everwild is another game that has been largely silent. It's that really stylized cooperative wilderness game. I don't really know much about it, but that is a game they will probably show and discuss at E3 2021. Warhammer Darktide is another game that they could potentially show. That one's looking really, really pretty, I guess, for lack of a better term. It sort of reminds me of, well, we got Back for Blood, which is basically Left 4 Dead, right? And then we got Warhammer Darktide, which is a similar sort of game where you go in with your friends and just kill a whole bunch of bad guys. We've been seeing a lot of Psychonauts 2 and ray tracing and all the cool stuff going on with Psychonauts 2. And I think that's another game that we're definitely going to see at E3 because it's so close to launch. The Age of Empires franchise, we could see something there. I think that will be a small portion if they show anything. I don't know anything about the Age of Empires franchise, so I'll just be honest. I don't know if that just came out or if there's going to be an expansion or something, but we probably see something there. Then machine games, we got Indiana Jones on the table. No confirmation as to whether or not that would be cross-platform, and with the recent purchase of Bethesda, it will be interesting to see what happens with Indiana Jones. So, of course, those are just like the heavy hitters that I've gone over, and already we are pretty far into the video. I'm going quick because I have even more to get through. Indie game wise, there's a few games that were at like the ID at Xbox showcase, and these will probably get a little bit of love. We got Chorus, that's the space adventure game. We got The Ascent, which just had a mega preview come out, and a lot of people are really, really excited. We have the charming OMNO. We have Astria Ascending with former Final Fantasy developers. We have Lost Eidolons, which looked really, really good to me. And of course, 12 Minutes. So those were just a few of these smaller games that I was really, really excited about. One game that's already out that we still haven't heard a lot about is Flight Simulator on console. What is going on there? What is happening with that? Announcements. So you're going to see, I think it's going to come out after this, but we did the Paul versus Destin, and one of the announcements that we sort of organically came to in conversation is, what if Final Fantasy XIV was announced finally coming to Xbox after all these years? There have been so many games developed by Square on Game Pass. Kingdom Hearts was just on there. Final Fantasy X's on there right now. There's a whole bunch of Final Fantasy games. If 14 finally came to Xbox, that would be a mega story, in my opinion. There's all the redacted content from the Epic trial about the Nintendo partnership. And just in general, I think we hear more about Game Pass. Now, these ones are pretty so-so. I actually moved it down here because I don't know that we'll see it, but I'll start with In Exile. They're teasing that they're working on something. They're working on an RPG game of some sort. Some people are guessing that's going to be Fallout, but we don't actually know what that's going to be. One company you should not expect to see anything from is the Coalition. I don't think we see anything about Gears of War unless it's an expansion. But I just don't think we see anything. They've been very clear that they're focusing their development time on new stuff, utilizing the new engine. Compulsion Games. So back in 2020, I believe they moved into a new studio. They have like 90 employees. They're hiring people right now. I'd be really, really interested to hear what is going on at Compulsion Games. We got Jez Corden teasing his Swirl Dragon game, whatever that's supposed to be, Dungeons and Dragons. Who knows? There's Mojang. We got Minecraft. We got Minecraft Dungeons. We got Arcane. Who knows what Arcane's working on? I say that one's too early because they just launched something. I can't remember off the top of my head, but the point is, I doubt Arcane is ready to show what they're working on. I think we do hear from Bethesda, and I think they have more than just Starfield, because Bethesda had a whole conference plan, right? So they have a lot of stuff up their sleeve, and all that's going to get rolled into whatever they're talking about for Microsoft at E3. So that includes titles like Wolfenstein, Doom, the Fallout franchise, the Elder Scrolls franchise, Starfield, right? And I think we get some clarity finally about whether or not those franchises are going to be exclusive. It's pretty obvious, like, okay, like Sony fans, those games are going to be exclusive. There's just no way. I could be wrong, but I would absolutely be shocked if those games come out on the PlayStation 5. It would be a strange move for me. Everybody talks to the profit margins. Xbox is behind in console sales. Like, that's not unknown. They need to make up ground. They bought that studio for that exact reason, because they need to start competing better with Sony's killer lineup. By the way, I will be making a Sony video about this, but I started taking Xbox notes and it took way longer than I expected because there's so much to talk about. Who else did I miss? id Software, we could probably see something about Wolfenstein or a new Wolfenstein property. I think that would go over really well. And then there's Tango Gameworks. We could hear about the games that they're finishing development for, like Ghostwire Tokyo. And then maybe they're working on, say, Evil Within, the Evil Within franchise, which was just one of the challenges, and it's on Game Pass right now. And then, of course, we have Fallout 76 and Elder Scrolls Online. So, oh my God, I just talked as fast as I could for about 11 minutes. Let's say there was 40 minutes of BS in there about the things that they could show. And that's just the stuff that we know about with a little bit of conjecture in there. E3 2021 for Xbox could be a banger of a show. There's so many things that I just went over. I have to imagine that they're trying to figure out how to get everybody in there, or if they're keeping it to like a 90-minute show, a traditional E3 show, they're probably cutting stuff out, because just talking about these properties alone could easily fill 90 minutes. I'm really, really excited to see what happens. I hope you are too. And I just kind of wanted to lay it all down and talk about, whoa, Xbox could have a massive E3 this year when you start thinking about every single little thing that they have that they could talk about. They could talk about the Bethesda merger alone for a half an hour, right? And then they still have 60 minutes of their other properties from like 343 and the Crossfire X team and In Exile and all these other properties that we haven't heard from in a while. So I'm not trying to overhype it. I'm just trying to tell you, this is just the stuff that we know about. This is just the stuff that's public information. So I think Xbox is going to have a really, really killer E3 2021. I also think if Sony does a conference, they have a lot they could talk about, but we'll do that in another video. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Man, I feel like I rushed through this one, but it's still 13 minutes long. So hey, if you like these late night rambly videos, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. I appreciate all of you who have subscribed. I'm losing my voice. If you like this sort of content, you can become a member. Memberships are something YouTube offers. I turned it on. It's there if you want to do it. I really, 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 really appreciate those of you who have contributed. Thank you so much. I want to record a few more of these because there's so much going on right now. Sometimes you think there's nothing happening, and then you start reading stuff and you're like, okay, a lot has happened that I need to catch up on. So thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you for the next one every day, 7 a.m. Pacific time. I'll see you for the next one. Bye, everybody. Boom.